Welcome back, Wealth Warriors Nation. We're actually here with Doug Decker today with Vertical Limit Fitness. He is an amazing business owner. I'm going to get inside his head today and kind of figure out some things for you guys. But first, I want you to see some of his operation. Doug, man, hey, thanks for joining us today, man.
Thank you for having me here.
All this time, I've been wanting to get you in here, and now I have, so this is awesome. Hey, listen, I got a couple of questions for you. I got several questions for you, really, but I want to get into some of this stuff because, you know, as a fitness athlete of your caliber, opening a business, you know, being in fitness is one thing, but opening a business is a whole other thing. Tell me how you started first. Let's start at the beginning.
Sure thing. Absolutely. So first, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad I'm able to be here. So the long story short, summary to a degree, is I got into it. I actually played beach volleyball competitively. Mm-hmm. And so in 2006, I was with a friend, a mutual friend of ours, a gentleman named Mr. Billy Weiland. And he had some workout routine going on in his garage. And he's like, hey, you need to come check this out. I think it's going to be good for you. I was in my mid-30s, and I wanted to stay on top of the beach game for the up-and-coming 20-somethings that were trying to outlast me. So I wanted to jump into something that was going to keep me fit, keep me strong. And so I went over to his garage. At the time, it was known as CrossFit is what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So I got in there. I started doing some CrossFit. I got my butt handed to me in a workout and then really never looked back.
We've never been there. I've never been there.
Never been in the garage. So, well, the garage expanded, obviously, which is a whole other business line story into CrossFit Tulsa, which just took a huge piece in Tulsa. It's actually the first CrossFit gym in Tulsa. And so many other fitness centers have spawned out of that, me being one of them. Mm-hmm. So that's the underlying story of how I got into the fitness industry overall in reference to fitness as a business, as I started out for myself, just trying to take care of myself.
Right on. So that was how long ago?
2006 is when that started.
Right.
And then that spanned into the first, my business started kicking in 2010.
Okay.
So I've had the entrepreneurial mindset, man, since probably 2000. Right out of college, I started working for a gentleman named Clifton Talbert. Obviously author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur himself. And I helped run his business. That kind of mindset rubbed off on me. And so in 2003, I formed Vertical Limit LLC. I was in some screen printing for a little while. I was doing small youth workshops for a little while. Soon enough, in 2010, after doing the 4 years of fitness just myself, I wanted to start to teach it instead of just doing it for myself. I wanted to pass on what I was learning.
So basically what you just said to me is you were doing some of these other things, but you're also following your passion. That was your goal. But you had to do some of these other things to get the money going until, like screen printing, things like that, trying to get that to where you're at now. You didn't just stop with just one position. You're
right.
You're pulling on that rope to try and get
right.
to your ultimate passion.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
what I'm hearing, right?
So I loved that concept at the time when I was really young in early 2000s. I love the concept of working for yourself. I love the startup idea. I like the big picture idea. There's some people that are big picture people. There are some people that like to be down to the minute things. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of those minute kind of guys.
Yeah.
I like the big picture things. I like the concept of how can I start this? How can I get this going? Where can it go kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I got into screen printing. That definitely wasn't a passion though. And then once I started doing more and more fitness style activities, that became my niche and what I really did like to do.
So as far as your actual starting your business, I want to go back to that because, you know, when you start a business, it's risky.
Oh, yeah.
When you're putting your name on something, a loan, a business, a building, you name it, it's risky. What was that feeling like? Tell me about what you fought against in your spirit, about what dog was fighting in there, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So I officially branched into Vertical Limit Fitness full-time 2013.
Okay.
So 2010, when I went and got my certification for my first fitness certification and education, I started teaching just classes at Oral Roberts University.
Okay.
I was teaching some side classes, and that started to steadily grow. So over the 3 years from 2010 to 2013, while I was still working for Mr. Talbert, I just started getting more of a drive, maybe not a drive, more of a gut feeling of I really want to be doing something else other than this. I was ready to move on. So 2013, the things I started really fighting are, where am I going to do this? How am I going to pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to follow me if I'm at ORU and I leave? Who's going to follow me?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to do it by myself? So those are obviously big questions that you undertake and hit you pretty hard when you really start to seriously consider branching out and doing something.
Right, it's scary at first.
Most
it's scary.
definitely.
A lot of people don't really understand, or if they do understand it, they're very, very apprehensive to take that first step. And that first step is the scariest part.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, I'm starting to get some momentum, but momentum is a big thing, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely, especially in my industry, obviously. And I can't speak for other businesses, but I'm assuming business overall, I'm assuming it's just going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the first step is scary, but once you start to build the momentum, once you start to maybe get a client base, depending on what you're doing, you start to feel a little bit more composed about what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and a little more secure that you know that step was the right step, so now you take the next step, and then you keep growing from
Kind
there.
of reinforces your
Right.
your dream a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell me some of the maybe habits and routines that you have down as a business owner, not just as, I mean, obviously fitness. You don't have. I tell a lot of people this all the time, but you don't follow a financial advisor that's broke. You don't follow
Right.
a fitness guy
Right.
that's fat.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're in shape. You're doing it. You're leading it. That's obvious. Okay, you've got that about you. I mean, you just take one look at you. You know, what is this guy doing? You know, that I'm not doing for myself. You know, fitness wise. But secondarily, when you're running a business. That entrepreneurial spirit, there's certain routines that almost everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about what yours are.
I don't know if I have any yet, Chris. Other than making
come on, I know you do.
making sure I still look the part. I agree completely, right? So the first routine obviously was you gotta walk the walk for what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta believe in your product,
Yeah.
and so that's the big thing. People are like, man, how'd you get to that? I told them my program. Here's what I do. I would not ever ask anybody in my gym to do something that I wouldn't do in reference to an exercise program or a workout routine. That is one thing. For any business you're in, you got to walk the walk. You got to believe in your product.
There you go. I love it.
That's the best way I could say that. So for me, it fortunately helps me look a little bit better in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps me in shape, keeps me healthy, keeps me longevity of life coming, things like that for what I do. Another one was I actually had to learn to sleep better. Mm-hmm. My entrepreneurial side for my business was sleep. It's a huge, huge piece for recovery. And I honestly think people need to sleep more in anything they're doing. It's going to rejuvenate your mind. It's going to rejuvenate your body. It's going to rejuvenate your spirit. You can have great ideas when you sleep. You have dreams and things like that. You can wake up, write down the ideas, go back to sleep. I've had woken up many a time, middle of the night. Fortunately, I keep keep a little journal next to my bed. There's another thing, idea of concept, something routine I've come into. Keep a journal, and so if I wake up, write in the journal. That way, one, I can get off my brain, I can go back to sleep.
Excellent.
And I don't lose sleep thinking about it the rest of my night. But it also allows you to come back and then start thinking about it from there.
So I'm going to expand on that just a little bit because a lot of people are spending time on Netflix. They're spending time playing video games. They're spending time this, and this. You know,
Right.
they've got all these different
Right.
things that distract you everywhere. What do you do in your downtime? What little downtime you have? I know all about you, man, but that little downtime you have, I would venture to say you're probably not stuck behind a TV. You're not stuck behind a video game. I mean, not to say that you wouldn't want, because you have a son and
Right.
you might play games together from time to time, but I'm saying on a regular basis, what do you do with your downtime?
So first thing I do is try to find a volleyball game. If I can get some guys together to play some volleyball, I want to do. Yes, it's another activity, but it's just something that I love to do. It's a hobby of mine. It's something I was competitive at, and I still want to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can find an activity, volleyball game, get some guys together, get on the sand, play some beach volleyball, fantastic.
Right.
When I literally have nothing to do, let's talk about a weekend. I
Okay.
work on Saturdays. Some people like to do housework. Some people like to do yard work. I'm not going to lie. Being in the business I'm in, I'm always active.
Uh-huh.
I like to put my feet up on the couch and just do nothing.
Right.
I don't care if I'm watching TV.
Decompress almost.
Decompress is a great word for it. I'll talk to we'll hang out all day we got a deck, a little couch on the back deck, just to sit down. I'm standing up most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm active, even if I'm not working out. I'm active with the participants in the gym. So my decompression is to do as little as possible.
So your normal week though is pretty early to pretty late, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm a 5 a.m. wake upper.
Okay.
6 a.m. class, and I'll have 1 or 2 morning classes, depending on if I'm doing a private session or leading a group class. I'll have a little time in between there where usually I'm going home and I'm checking emails, making sure the everything's in place with the finances. Then I got lunch classes. And then I have afternoon stuff where I'm working with some schools, and then I have an evening class. So morning, lunch, and evening, when people are usually taking their breaks, is when I'm working. So when they're working during the day, between my classes, I'm trying to get the small business things done that most people in the business have people for. Being a one-man show, and that reference to a small business owner, I don't have as many people to rely on, so it's just me, myself, and I,
right?
Which is a challenge at times, but also it's a plus at times. So when I don't have anything to do, easy decompress. I'll try to read 5 to 10 pages of a book every night before I go to bed. But I try not to be active because I do so much activity. Where other people are the opposite, right? They're not as active, so their decompression might be going and running 5 miles at night, or it might be biking in the evenings with their friends, things like that. So it's
but you do that for a living, so it's like you got to give your body time to rest, which is just as important as the rest of the workout.
Right.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So, tell me about maybe a mission statement that you created for yourself as a business. Do you have a mission statement or a purpose statement that you've created?
Absolutely. So the base, most modified down statement I can give you is, I believe in better. Period. Everybody can achieve better in some form or fashion. Doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. Michael Jordan was always striving to be better.
Absolutely.
Tom Brady's always trying to strive. So I'm naming the 2 biggest athletes of all time, best athletes of all time. They still want to develop their skill. They wanted to develop their skill to be better. So at Vertical Limit, we say we believe in better. We believe in better function. We believe in better fitness. We believe in better capacity. And we believe in better community. All those things bring all together just a better life overall. So if you start changing one little thing, or you start striving to be 1% better in anything you do, once you hit that 1%, you keep striving for 1%, you're going to end up creating a better life for yourself and everybody around you.
Man, I love that. That's awesome. So you got Vertical Limit Fitness, and it's an amazing place, and these guys got a little snippet of it here. But as far as the culture of the business, the people you want to attract, those kinds of things, tell me a little bit about the culture of your business.
Sure. So in the fitness industry, especially the CrossFit industry, which I used to be in, I stepped out, which we could talk about. It is pretty competitive. It's become competitive. Now, it shouldn't be that way. That's just the way it ended up evolving. So when I branched out, I got a little different ideology of what CrossFit is and wanted to change some methodologies of my own. So I like to think that at Vertical, we create a very engaging, welcoming, energetic, fun place to improve your life. My coaches, the coaches I do have, we get along great. We want to make sure that we know every single person by name. Every time someone walks in the door, time someone's leaving, we're saying hello, we're saying goodbye to them by name, making sure they understand that we know who they are, making sure that they feel involved, that they feel welcomed. And then we have fun when we work out. Sometimes you're suffering pretty bad. Yeah. So it's good to have someone joking with you, keeping your spirits up while you're doing a pretty high intensity workout. We don't do those high intensity workouts every day, but it's a good place to do it.
So what if someone is out there and they're saying, you know what, I'd really love to get into this industry and just be a coach for someone. They don't want to have to worry about all the business side, because we always know that is a heavy burden on its own. Keeping up with memberships, keeping up with staff, keeping up with all the things, the overhead. That's cumbersome. Some people just want to come in, they want to go to work. And what are some of the attributes you look for in a coach that's going to work for you?
So I really want someone that's going to be friendly. I want someone that's going to be engaged in the client, if that makes sense. You could have a coach there that might not be engaged. I even fall guilty to it myself every once in a while. I might have something on the back of my head, in the back of my mind, and so I might not necessarily be as engaged in the class as I need to be. But you want to have someone that's going to understand people. For a coach, I want to have someone that, again, is engaging, welcoming, but then on top of that, for my business, they have to understand movement. They have to understand how to communicate. Two really big pieces when it comes to, if you ask me, in any kind of fitness industry you're in, you need to understand movement and you need to be able to communicate, because you have to be able to communicate that to others.
Man, that speaks resonance about every business on the planet. You got to be able to communicate.
I think communication is the number one thing.
Absolutely. Whether it be with your coworkers, whether it be with the general public, communication is key. So as we come across, we don't want to come across and run this person off. We want this person to enjoy being there, right? We want them to engage.
Right.
So you have to be engaging.
Right.
So, yeah, huge nugget. Love it. So there's been some, emotional stories, I'm sure, in your past. Who you help on a regular basis. You got any good stories like that these guys might want to hear?
Yeah, I have a number of them. So let's do one that's more recent, probably up to date with everything that's going on.
Okay.
I have two clients, two members, sister-in-laws. Two sister-in-laws. Unfortunately, one of the sister's brothers and then her sister-in-law's husband passed away due to complications post-COVID. And this was very, very recent. The emotional piece, obviously, that's upsetting, period, is that he wasn't a member of my gym. The two ladies are. They both had COVID. They recovered from COVID. Unfortunately, he did not. Where I went to his funeral, and post-funeral, we're just, giving our condolences to the ladies. And the sister's husband walked up to me, which I was not expecting, and he just looked at me and was like, I just want you to know you saved my wife's life. Due to the fact that if she, the year before, I think she's lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
The year before, if she would have got COVID, if it happened to have hit it at the time before she came to the gym, she probably wouldn't have survived either. Just due to the fact of her lack of fitness and capacity, where her lungs were stronger, her body was stronger, she was able to fight it off better.
Right on.
And at the time when he first said that, when he told me, I was like, hey man, it's, thank you. I don't feel like I did anything. I'm glad she's okay. And then I thought on it more and more, and I was like, that's what he really meant, was if she wouldn't have been doing this. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I love to see look on people's faces when they accomplish things they didn't think they could do. People lifting more weight than they think, or breaking a 10-minute mile, or coming in saying, I lost another 20 pounds, or, hey, look at this before and after picture. Doing those things is one of the big reasons why I do what I do, to see the accomplishments of others, and just to watch people improve, be it on a daily basis and then over time. And that's high school athletes that I train and grown adults that are having to make a life-changing decision in reference to, I know I need to lose weight, or I need to do something because of my heart or anything like that.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to look at a picture. Let's look at this from 1,000-foot view. If you were to give some advice to a new business owner, regardless of the area, what kind of advice would you give them if they're just starting out?
First one is make sure you have sounding board. We talked about communication a second ago, but make sure you have a sounding board. Make sure you have, maybe you call it trusted advisors. Make sure you might
Good counsel,
right? You might get a mentor.
Yeah. Have
someone mentor you. I think that's crucial. I was fortunate enough to work for Mr. Talbert, who's a successful businessman, as a sounding board early on.
Yeah.
But he wasn't aware of my industry as well. So overall business, great mentor, wasn't necessarily aware of my industry. So I went at that alone, and I wish I had more of a sounding board. I was lucky enough to find a spectacular lady halfway through to marry, and now she's my sounding board. Also, because she is in the health and wellness industry. She's not in the fitness industry, but she's in the health and wellness industry. And so it really helps to have a sounding board. It could be one person, it could be a spouse, or it could be an advisor board, it could be a council, board of trustees, whatever. But that's one of the top things I would say, is have someone that you can run ideas by, have someone that you can sound things off of, the concepts that you're thinking of.
Fantastic. Doug, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. There's a lot of veterans transitioning out of the military. There's a lot of civilians out there that don't know where to go. They don't know where they're going to spend their life. But a lot of them have that gnaw at them to be an entrepreneur. And man, I tell you what, this has been great for them, I'm sure. And I hope to do this again.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no.